One of the things that I do with people when I first meet with them is I sit there and I ask them a question. I have them imagine that a dog walks out onto a stage and does some tricks. Meanwhile, as you watch it, and then the dog disappears. And then I ask the person, did you see the dog? Okay? Of course. I saw the dog. Yeah, in my imagination, I got it. Then I say, well, who is this I? Who is this you that saw that dog? That stops them. They say, huh? Is this a trick question? No, it's not. What I'm asking is, who is this I that sees things? We act as if there is an I in there, okay? And yet, at the same time, what you discover very quickly is that there is no I in there. What there really is a construction of self that the brain has developed from your total of potential into one particular self, a construction of a self that allows you to be able to operate in the environment in which you're thrust. That's what it is. Is there an I? No. What happens? It's actually quite fluid. Believe it or not. If you've seen people do some real serious change and they are no longer that person anymore, they don't see themselves as I anymore. They say that person I used to be isn't there. Like for instance, when I go back to my high school reunions, people are still expecting me to show up as the Rande Howell that I was many, many, many years ago. Let me tell you, it wasn't a pretty sight. My nickname was Man Mountain, and I was a big, tough guy. I let nobody near me emotionally. And yet over the years, what happens, that particular consolidation of a self that was so useful for the circumstances that I grew up in really began to get in my way as an adult. Things just, I couldn't get close. I had a hard time. And over time, I began to really decipher and understand what had happened as my brain did its job. It was constructing a self that I later identified with and called me, I, that was built to survive in the environment in which it was thrust. That's all. It wasn't the final self. And yet we get stuck in it and we get locked into it because we become blind to that understanding. In neurobiology, there's a saying, you have never seen reality. What you have seen is through the eyes of your beliefs, your assumptions, and biases, you are constructing a reality right in front of your face. This is why Einstein says reality is really an illusion, but a highly, highly persistent one. We can't see. We get locked into this tunnel that sees things, and it locks it in because it worked. And there's no reason for the brain to let go of it. Once it constructs a self, okay, it locks it in, then it starts myelinating it, insulating it, so that it becomes hot to the point where it is on automatic that anytime there are changes in the environment, automatically a particular construction of the self shows up. Now, my interest is what mind shows up when faced with challenges, faced with uncertainty. And what you can do is you can begin to recognize that most of us, we have a choice. When we're meeting those challenges, that's called stress. The question though, is it a good form of stress that helps us achieve? That's called eustress. Or is it distress, more like anxiety, where you have a foreboding about what's going to happen? Both these are based on the same physiology, okay? And you're going, oh my gosh, my brain actually constructed me, and that there is no permanent me. No. You are actually a journey. You're actually a journey of discovery that often kind of gets trapped in a place, stuck in a place, and it's hard to get out. Here, what we're teaching are the tools you need to be able to unlock the prison that you yourself have created, well, your primitive brain, and to move forward with much more wisdom about how to construct a self that is built for thriving, built to be able to engage the world, the challenges of living, with the knowledge, with the understanding that you can handle the uncertainty and you're good with it. You're no longer trying to control outcome or control the self or control other people. What you're doing is you're recognizing that's futile. That's an illusion. You have the illusion of control in a construction of the self, but you do not have control. The black swan will show up and blow all that stuff up. If you have a mind built to meet the challenges of living, that's different. Suddenly you begin to go, well, you know something? If history, what I'm inherited from all the past generations, and my learning from my family, my community, from my extended family, from my culture, from circumstances, has organized me into a self, what could I do as I wake up and can begin to construct a different self? It's kind of like Nelson Mandela said. You know, the Afrikaners put him in solitary confinement for 3 years with the sole express purpose of breaking him. Yet, he came to see that they did him a favor. What he learned in that small little enclosure is that he was captain of his own destiny. He was the maker of how he engaged the uncertainties of the world. And what he did, he constructed a self that created a bloodless transition of power between the blacks of South Africa and the white minority. And it was bloodless. Now, he did that by constructing a new self that engaged these people. You can do the same, but the deal is what I want you to get out of this is there is no I. There is a construction of the self that you have fused to and see as yourself because your vision is locked in. And what I'm asking you to do is, how do you go about unlocking that vision, unlocking the prison door of yourself, leaving it, and recognizing that you can construct a completely different self than the one that you started with? And I invite you, friends, to find out how. One, you can look at more videos on this channel, but at the same time, I invite you to go to randehowell.com. There, start exploring. Start saying, okay, what is he offering in the tools? Then go to Amazon, get my very inexpensive book about unlocking, finding that missing key to your potential. Then on the website, there's also the unlocking book that can only be done on that website. There's also courses. But the thing is I'm asking you to be the seeker. I'm asking you to say, you know something? I know there's something more, and I'm asking that seeker in you to wake up and to recognize the opportunity that's right in front of its face right now. Take action. And thank you. And by the way, start catching yourself putting all this I stuff and recognizing that, oh my gosh, every time I say that, I'm kind of reinforcing this one small little aspect of a self that got constructed, yet I'm missing the greater potential that lives right in front of my eyes. Start noticing that and asking for more.